Welcome to everyone tuning in. I am France LV Banda, the Diversity, Equity, Accessibility, and Inclusion Program Coordinator here at FASEP. In celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, I'm honored to introduce Dr. Rodrigo Franco Cruz. Dr. Rodrigo Franco Cruz is a professor at Redox Biology Center and the School of Veterinary Medicine and Biomedical Sciences at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Dr. Cruz received his bachelor's in biology and his PhD in biomedical sciences at the National Autonomous University of Mexico. And he also completed his postdoc fellowship at NIH's Laboratory of Signal Transduction at the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences. Dr. Franco's research interests include cell death signaling pathways involved in neuronal cell death associated with neurotoxicity, neurodegenerative disorders, and brain injuries, as well as the implications of cellular bioenergetics and metabolism in the regulation of cell death and survival. That's a lot that you are.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So, holding an international perspective, Dr. Franco Cruz has spent much of his academic and professional careers traversing Mexico and the United States of America. So welcome, Dr. Franco Cruz. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your story with us. And so just to jump right into it, can you let us know what has sort of motivated your interest in pursuing a career in the sciences?
Well, thanks you, LB, and thanks to FASEP and to Marcelo Bonini, who invited me to participate here. Well, if I should recall how it all started, I remember when I was in high school, I did a report on sharks. Back then my father used to work on the Department of Fisheries, and the sharks got my attention. I did the report, I did really well. Since then, research in biology got my attention. I got into the School of Biological Sciences with the goal to be an oceanographer, a marine biologist, next Jacques Cousteau. Then, different things happened. I was exposed to different areas of biology. I started working in cell biology at the laboratory of Herminia Pasantes Morales, where I got my PhD. And then I pursued my postdoctoral training here at the States, as you said. I think I have always liked research. If I had to choose another career, maybe I would have chosen journalist in my next life. It's just the thrill and excitement to ask a question, find an answer, discover something that in many cases it's unexpected. That's why it's called research. We cannot predict science. And, just get more questions to be answered. And my parents, they both went to college. So that example was there. My father was an economist. My mother was a medical doctor, or she's there still. But my mother is retired. And so there was always the reinforcement of the importance of higher education when I grew up, between books and hospitals and things like that.
So how important would you say it is for individuals who are wanting to pursue a career in the sciences, especially those who are from underrepresented backgrounds, even those who are from the Hispanic or Latinx community, to sort of have mentors guiding them along the way and helping them to discover new pathways and avenues to achieving that dream?
Well, mentorship is very important. And whether you come from a foreign country such as myself, all my education was done in Mexico, or whether you come from underrepresented background, Latinx, born and raised in the United States, mentorship is very important. And it happens at all different levels. And mentorships or example of people that, exert an influence in your life. Like my parents were my first mentors, of course. Then before getting into my career in academia, I found mentorship in France, where I did my postdoctoral training. I had a really good friend from Greece who, when I came to this country, taught me a lot about the education system, the science or the scientific system here in US and how it works. It's important to find people that will support you from your own culture, examples, and even outside that can promote your academic path.
And so based on your own experiences as an international student here in the US, what were some difficulties that you experienced going from postdoc to, becoming a full professor?
Well, coming from a developing country like Mexico, where resources are limited, I worried about me not being prepared to face, a challenge or to doing research in a world-recognized institution such as NIH. I was pleased to see that my education back at UNAM in Mexico, my university, was of good quality. It certainly lacked different resources that here they are available for US, but the education was good. And what I have seen it happens is that in many cases, students that come from abroad, which they don't speak perfect English. I don't do it myself, even after more than 15 years of being in this country. Their proficiency in English is linked to their ability to perform academically or to perform in the lab. So those types of bias can affect the performance of an individual. I think administrators, staff, faculty need to recognize that when an individual comes from abroad, there is always like this type of cultural or environment shock, moving from a different country, learning how the system works, banking, taxes, social security number, the basics, transportation, food. And many of the students struggle the first month even paying rent, just because they have to wait for a month till they get the final check. And in many cases, they don't have the savings, to have a comfortable life. So that's an important thing. Another one is the sense of belonging, and this applies to both students coming from abroad and individuals from raised in a Latin community, moving to a different environment. That is very, very important. There are two concepts, right, that are managed, which are acculturation and enculturation. Acculturation is the degree to which an individual adheres to a new culture. And enculturation is to the degree to which an individual keeps their own inheritance. So there has to be a balance between both. So you need to keep your sense of belonging, and you need to open up to a new stage in your life. So I will say again, just bias from individuals who they don't perceive the difficulties of a student is facing, and also the degree of getting acclimated to a new environment.
And so, given all that you've observed and learned in your time being here in the biomedical field in the US, what advice would you have, not only for postdocs, but for other, your fellow colleagues, for institutions as a whole, be they academic institutions or governmental agencies, on sort of helping people, especially those from the Latinx community and the Hispanic community, adapt to their new environment and maintain that balance that you talked about?
Well, I will say that for institution, training on these issues is really important, just to get rid of that intrinsic bias. And make the academic and the scientific environment more welcoming and empathic to what the individual is facing. For students at different levels that are moving to a different cultural surrounding, Stay in touch with family and friends. It's really important. Find those things or the environment that will make you feel close to home. You know, going back to this enculturation concept. But also, they need to recognize that they must step out of their comfort zone and get acculturated, explore places, explore different cultures, ideas. Definitely seek help when needed, when they are facing the challenges. Establish a network of support, emotional support, a network of mentorship. We talk about mentorship, that's very important. Be mindful of others. You know, you don't be too judgmental to the individuals that you are, or the new culture that you are being immersed into. You know, we also come with our own biases. Many students from Mexico come to this country thinking that, you know, there is prevalent racism amongst Americans, and that's not true. I mean, I have met so many welcoming Americans here, and people that have helped me, and it's a very, in general terms, it's an open community. So just also don't be too judgmental. Work hard, definitely. Set expectations with your mentor. Make a plan since day one. Time flies. I would say probably start planning for the next step since the day you arrive, since the day you start undergraduate education. Think about what do you need to do to reach what you need, what you are planning to get at the end of your education. The same when you start your graduate school. Are you going to do a postdoc? Are you going to do to industry? They have to be aware that an academic and a scientific career is more than just doing experiments in the lab, passing a comprehensive exam. They need to attend seminars, participate in the scientific conferences, meet people. But very importantly also, you know, whether they are working hard, studying hard, take time to do something that fulfills you and complements you. Learn new things. If you are if you travel from another country to this one, take advantage of the new possibilities of exploring new things to learn, experiences. Take breaks. I remember one of the most important things that my parent told me is never expect to have a holiday or a vacation to relax or take a break. You know, you can find those breaks in between a huge workload of a day. Just, you know, having an hour to drink a coffee, to go for a run, to do something during the weekend. So those probably will be the recommendations I will give them.
Those are a lot, and those are all very helpful. You touched on so many different important aspects, not only about being career driven and focused, but also paying attention to one's own mental and physical health as well in the midst of all of that. So I'm pretty sure all the future professors who are watching you are very excited and, you know, jotting down all the notes on how to become as successful as you have become.
Thank you.
Of course. So thank you again so much for joining us. Thank you so much for sharing your story with FASB and with the scientific community in honoring Hispanic Heritage Month.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you for the interview.
Thank you, Dr. Franco. You have a great day.